You don't really need to be talented to be popular today. That's the reality of it.
In the multiple positions that you're in, you are open to criticism. It
No.
goes without saying, right? And
I
some
think I know where you're going. Censorship is not under FINAS and KKMN. Censorship board is under KDN, Kementerian Dalam Negeri.
Right.
So it's not under our authority.
But do you have a say?
No.
So no seat at the table.
From FINAS, no.
Let's hear your personal opinion of this
I
as a
think FINAS
creative.
should be on that panel.
Right. Another episode of Live Confessions with another amazing guest joining us. Someone who has worn so many hats and currently wears multiple hats at the same time as well. Dato Hans Isaac joins us today. Welcome, sir.
Welcome, Terry. Thank you for having me.
Now, I didn't even know how to introduce you because, first of all, you do wear multiple hats. You're chairman of FINAS. Many people still remember you as an actor. You've been a director. You've been a writer as well.
Yeah.
When someone asks you what you do, what do you tell them now?
I say I have multiple jobs.
Yeah.
Every day is a different day, you know. But obviously, I prioritize. I have to prioritize the job function as well. I'll put the most important one as the first priority, and currently is the chairman of FINAS.
Right.
At this point today, and obviously, you know, I'm a businessman as well. I'm a politician as well. You know, I was in the creative industry for over 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I started very young. I'm, even with businesses, I have multiple businesses that people don't know. So people just assume me before as an actor. But
Right.
when I was 22 years old, I owned my first company. I built my first company.
What was that company?
It was called Red Hot Entertainment. It was an entertainment company. Invested a bit of money in it and built it.
Wow.
And I felt that company couldn't grow anymore. And I sold my shares and built another company. And
Right.
built another company. And I had multiple companies.
So when people ask you what you do, the answer is everything.
Everything. So I was on the
Everything.
set. I was always working for my businesses.
Right. Right. You know, let's go back a little bit actually, because, you know, you've had a long, successful career in film initially. In fact, to this day, what made you decide to walk away from primarily acting
Ah, man.
more than 2 decades ago? Was there like a breaking point
There
that
was.
changed? Yeah.
There were 2 points I would share. One was I was on a film set with a director, a buddy of mine, you know what I mean? And we've worked many times together. And I said to him, we did some scenes and everything. And I felt I couldn't give my best for the character and the production and for him. And I felt really bad because my mindset wasn't there. But I tried to push it, and then I finished off the production, and then I took another production because I was always fully booked. I worked literally, 90% of the year
Right.
for about 20 years. You know what I mean? I was sometimes doing 2 productions at the same time. Sometimes I'm doing a film in the daytime and a theater production at night. So the schedule was quite mad. Sometimes I was in a country promoting. I've been in 3 countries in one day, and I didn't know which country I was in.
Was that because you felt you needed to keep
I was
busy?
burned out, number one. Number two is I was saying lines that I was saying too many times in the characters. So I felt the scripts weren't pushing me anymore. So that was more the creative aspect of why I said, you know, I need a change. The second part was when I was appointed by Gobin, the minister at that time, 5 years ago, as chairman. And I was appointed as a industry player. I was not a politician. So about 5-6 years ago. And then obviously, after a certain time of a year, we all got ousted because of the Sheraton move.
Right.
And government fell. And obviously, even we weren't politicians, we were all ousted by the seats.
Right.
And the incoming government took over all the government GLC positions.
Right.
So I couldn't obviously do what I needed to do. You know what I mean? And I decided, you know what? I'm going to change my career path.
Right.
And I was going to be a politician. And the reason I was a politician was we used to complain about Malaysia so much.
Right.
We complain about the ministers and the people who are leading the country. And we were saying, oh, useless, you know, complain. As rakyat, we complain. Sit in the gerai, complain.
Yeah.
But we never took initiative. We were just complaining. Rakyat yang complain. But we never took the initiative to lead the country. So a few friends of mine decided we're going to take lead on this, you know what I mean? And that's how I got into politics. So
When you look back now and you realize where you are now, how does it feel? Does it feel real already, or when did it start feeling real?
I think number one is I believe in Anwar Ibrahim. I believe that he needed his shout. I think he needed his time to prove his capabilities.
Right.
You know, and obviously the country was in a certain state that I think one term was not enough for him. And a prime minister would need probably 2 terms to basically put the country in line. So me and a few friends decided this is the man we're going to back.
Right.
And things just happen. I mean, after that, I mean, we don't ask for positions. We don't. We're not there in the party for position. We're there to participate and support the party and the country.
They say that a great leader creates great leaders. That's what some people believe.
Yeah.
You yourself now hold significant leadership positions, not just one, but positions.
Yeah.
What personal growth experiences have been most impactful to you in this journey of yours?
The current journey or my whole life journey? Which part?
You can choose. Tell us which one is most significant.
I think first thing, you have to have a foundation. A foundation about people, about family, about relationships.
Right.
I think that's very important to understand people first.
Right.
When I was younger, I was a talker. And we're doing an interview, I have to talk. I can't keep quiet, right now. But
please do. Please do keep talking. Yeah.
But when we meet people, it's time to listen. So it's more listening power than actually speaking. So I had to change that. As an actor, it was all about Hans Isaac. Everywhere I went, it's Hans. Picture, photograph, autograph, whatever. People wanted me to be left, right, center. But being a politician, it reverses that. Right. Actually, if you're a true politician, it grounds you totally. You need a lot of patience, and you need to put a lot of attention into people.
Right.
Yeah.
And is that the difference you feel now, that you've had to change roles, so to speak?
I think it's matured me tremendously. I think it's, men are always boys. Men are always boys, But I realize when you get into politics and dealing with people, you can't have that boy character anymore. Right. You've literally got to mature,
Right. It's interesting that you say that, because in anyone's life, the death or loss of a loved one can bring about a lot of change. And when you lose someone as a public figure, someone who is out there in the open with so many people wanting to be there for you, do you feel like being in the public eye and losing someone, it's different? You grieve differently?
I think you do, but I had a lot of support. I had a lot of good friends, good people. When my mom and dad passed away, and obviously we're Roman Catholics in church. When I turned around, I was obviously in the front row. When I turned around and looked in the church, there were all my Muslim friends, Chinese friends, Indian friends. They were all there for me.
Right.
The church was packed with people, and that really, I was like shocked. You know what I mean?
Right.
That my Muslim friends would walk into church because of me. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
I walk into a mosque and I have buried Muslim friends. I have buried their parents and helped them. I have mandi janazah as well and helped them, with permission from the family.
Right.
I know how to bury a Muslim person, you know what I mean? And I think that's the culture we have in Malaysia.
Yeah.
We're always supportive, the unity is there. It's just a fraction of people in Malaysia that try to break this.
Right.
And that's what we don't want.
Right. It's interesting to note that, like you said, in this country, we are so united in so many ways, across so many lines that are drawn, but also there are people who choose to see the differences, right?
I just share a quick story that, PMX, every time he meets us, and, especially, I don't know why he keeps saying this to me, Hans, do me a favor, go out there and unite the people. He goes to a few of our individuals in meetings, at high council meetings. We need to unite the people. We need to unite the people, be that soldier to unite the people, That's what he wants. His vision is about uniting us, irrelevant of race, religion, and so on,
Yeah. We definitely want to find out more about the role that you've been playing in politics and how entertainment has perhaps helped or not in this journey of yours. But as someone who's been both in front and behind the camera, right, what's the biggest misconception people have about the Malaysian entertainment industry, do you think?
I think you think that the way they carry themselves in public eyes, that everybody's a superstar. They have all the money in the world. They have all the success in the world. I disagree. I've been through tough times, not even be able to fill up my motorbike gas, thinking of where I'm going to get money to eat tomorrow. I've been through that as an actor.
Yeah.
We went through a lot of hard times, and it's not that easy.
Right. People don't see this side.
I don't see an actor in Malaysia. A lot of them, anywhere around the world sometimes, you're hidden behind your sunglasses. To me, a superstar or a star or a celebrity or a talent doesn't have to hide behind your sunglasses. You can be still real by looking at people. Why are you hiding from the people that support you?
Right. Interesting that And you're still very much in the industry still, actually,
Well,
because
not
you
as-
make appearances, right?
I do, but
Yeah.
more on the chairman of FINAS basis, to support the industry. I've just finished a production in New Zealand in October, and it's out in May in Singapore.
What's that about?
It's a film, a series called Korban. I can't say much about it, to be honest, until we launch in I think May 27th. It was a nice production to be part of.
Right.
Yeah.
With global audiences opening up to Asian content, we've seen a lot of this happen. Why do you think Malaysian films haven't had quite made that major international breakthrough like perhaps films from Korea or Thailand? Yeah, is there a reason for this?
The first thing I did coming back to FINAS for my second term, I'm the first chairman to come in twice
Right.
in the history of FINAS. And my statement was, I think we shouldn't be looking at this 30-year, I don't know how long it is, many years of us going road to Oscar. This road to Oscar to me doesn't fulfill our needs.
Right.
I think we have to look at the road to Asia. If you conquer Asia, then your film can conquer anywhere else around the world.
Right.
If you can't even conquer your side of the globe, how are you going to conquer everyone else around the world?
Right.
The stories that we have currently is very commercialized. I think we have a commercial value of films in Malaysia, and then obviously we have the very arty films in Malaysia.
Yep.
I believe a story that can travel out there is always human stories about hardships of people, success stories when they are in the worst of their conditions and they make something that turn around for other people to learn from. Human stories.
Right.
When I built my musical theaters, I never bought content that was international. Copyrights were international. I would write stories about Lat, Kampung Boy,
Yeah.
building a career,
Yeah.
and the whole world knows who he is.
Right.
Mokhtar Dahari, a legend footballer
Yeah.
who's top scorer in the world, top 3.
Yeah.
My story is about 4 guys cleaning the KLCC window cleaners.
Right. Right. They're both very local in terms of the flavor, but yet the message is still one that anyone can understand.
You can place that story in any country and they will understand it.
Right.
So you have to have a more international storyline base. I'm not international storyline, the arc of the story.
Right. But how do we do that? How do we bridge that gap between high-profile productions and lesser-known grassroots creators who lack the access but have talent? Like sometimes you can see a great script,
Yeah.
but how does that get the light of day? How do you get off the
Number one is you got to raise your money, your funding. Problem in the funding is the people make their funding, they make their script, they make their movie, and they make the money up front. And they're not thinking about the business plan of cinema. They're not thinking the business plan of the script. You're going to be a one-shot wonder, or you want to be a multiple filmmaker.
Right. Right.
You make a film that goes to the cinema, about 4 people are sitting there, or you make a film that's full house,
Right.
or even half.
Right.
You can't make a film that people are not watching. To me, it's not a film anymore.
Right.
You make a film because people watch the film. Then it's a successful story.
Are some of us misunderstanding what the Malaysian audience wants? Because it's been said over and over again that if you want to make money with a Malaysian film, it needs to be one of 3 things, which is either a romantic movie, a comedy, or a horror movie. And if you combine all 3, you've got...
No, I disagree, to be honest. It's a seasonal thing. It's a seasonal thing in our market. Sometimes, now it's action and all this stuff. Gangster movies, action. At one point it was army, navy. Before it was rom-coms. Then it was hantu stories.
Yeah.
This trend will continue to evolve, in that sense, you know what I mean? It's just that, do you know what the market's going to accept in the next year and a half? Because it takes a year over to make your movie. From writing your script to getting out to Wajib Tayang, getting your slot, it takes 1 year.
Right.
To get your money back takes probably 2 years.
Right. So to make it as quickly as possible to stay relevant is
Relevant at the
important?
point when you release the film.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And how do you
golden-
plan for that?
I do not know.
Yeah. Okay.
I do not know. Nobody
tough
has
one.
the answer. It's a very tough one.
Yeah. What's your honest take on the next generation of Malaysian filmmakers? Are they pushing boundaries or do they think they still need to play it safe?
I don't think they're playing it safe. I think even with the way the younger generation shoot film on their phones, short films and so on, they're actually crossing boundaries in that sense already, But doing a 1-2 minute short film on a platform
Right.
and putting out a full 120-minute film in the cinema, it's very different.
Right.
The arc of the story is different. Your concept will have probably be different.
Right.
Storytelling is obviously, but storytelling to keep someone entertained for an hour and 20 minutes, it's not easy.
And do you think the issue lies perhaps in how some people think they can do it, even though they may not have the skills to, based on their popularity on social media, creating these short films, they may have developed some skill there, but to make that leap, how do we help them?
Times are very different. Times are very different because before, you need talent to make it in industry. You need a package, you need talent, you have to go out and cast. A reporter calls you, you go to the publisher and do the interview. They don't come to you.
Right.
Today it's very different. You know what I mean? People make money off the platforms of content. You know what I mean? You don't really need to be talented to be popular today. That's the reality of it.
You bring up a good point by saying that, because one of the issues that has been brought up over and over again by especially veteran actors and actresses is they feel undervalued because the following that they have on Instagram or on social media seems to supersede a person's talent at this point.
Yeah.
Is that...
I agree 100%.
Yeah. How do we deal with this?
You can't deal with it because times have evolved. It's changed. I mean, so from our perspective in FINAS, basically, I think yesterday in the town hall, we had a town hall. It's a very successful one. I think, Minister YB Fahmi, YB Dato Fahmi, he actually said, Hans, we got to come up with something for the veterans, come up with a program for the veterans. We hold the license, so maybe we will look at a percentage of veteran actors being paid properly rather than being paid peanuts.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's not, and we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking about they're getting paid. I don't even want to mention the pricing on numbers on how they get paid today.
Is that low?
When I was a director and I used to call a veteran actor, I would pay them equally as a current actor would get.
Right.
And literally, when I asked them, the production manager asked, how much is your fee for today's shoot?
Right.
Apa-apa sajalah. Apa abang bagi, adik Hans bagi, okay. And I was like, no, there's no okay. We need to know what we're paying this person. And they will not ask for a single dollar.
Wow.
So I will make sure that they got paid for that day like no one would ever pay them.
Yeah.
And they would literally be crying receiving that money.
We need more champions like you.
Yeah, but a lot of people want to keep. A lot of people think profit. I don't think profit. I think people are the profit. I think investing in people are the profit.
Being the chairman of FINAS now, does that put you in a position to affect change?
It does in terms of policy-wise, but in terms of funding, I have no authority over the funding.
Right.
The funding comes by a panel, by KKMM. It comes from the Jawatan Kuasas from various areas to decide who gets the money, who gets the grants, and so on.
Right.
Even with our FIMI fund, which is a wonderful program we have, filming in Malaysia incentive, FIMI.
Right.
But we have grants which Dana DKK, Kandungan Creative, and that's basically where the youth come in. They come in from script level, they can go to marketing level, they can go to production level. Post-production, we have our facilities. A lot of people don't realize that FINAS has international facilities. Oh, we do. If you come in and see it, the building may look old from the outside, but when you go in, we have good quality equipment.
But are you optimistic looking at the new vanguard of talent that you've seen?
Talent will come and go. The question is when you spot a talent that can make a massive impact for the country, for the industry, those are the ones you really need to save. It's very difficult to save everyone.
Right.
I must admit, it's very difficult. Our policies don't save everyone. Who can become an actor? Anyone.
Right.
The credibility of the actor, the documentation for the actor, there's none. In the US, I think, was it the UK, it's Actors Guild.
Right.
You can't even participate in a production unless you hold the Actors Guild license.
Right.
So
do we want to?
So we have formed GAFIMA. So what we've done, we have about 20 associations from various segments of the industry. We have combined them under one platform, one umbrella called GAFIMA.
Okay.
And FINAS will deal with GAFIMA. From the FDM, which is the Film Directors Association, Seniman, the Actors Association, PFM, the Producers Association.
Right.
So we've gathered all of them into one roof and one platform. Now, how this funding is going to work, I can't share with you, but we already have an idea how we're going to do this.
Right. So we'll look forward to seeing this. Yeah. Now, based on everything you've said so far, you're no stranger to political spaces and to spaces of power. How do you navigate the intersection of politics and creativity, especially in a role like FINAS chairman?
Um,
Does it help?
Politics is about helping people. So if you're heading a GLC, a gambling agency, it's about helping people. So actually, decisions are quite easy. If you can help an individual or an organization, you help. If they come with non-documentation, non-licensing, non-MOF documentation, a bit difficult because we have to justify everything that we spend.
Right.
We are audited.
Right.
So there's no choice. If somebody comes to me and say, boleh tolong bang? I'm like, boleh. Tapi you have to go through the process with the proper documentation.
Right.
You have to win it at the end. You have to win it on your own. I can't help you win it. I can guide you
Merit
through the
counts.
process.
It's important.
Merit counts on your own.
In a position that you're in the multiple positions that you're in, you are open to criticism. It goes without saying, right? And
I think I know where you're going. I think you know where you're going with this one.
Some critics argue that celebrities entering administrative roles, which you have been doing for a long time actually, lack the necessary experience. That's their argument. How do you respond to this perception that critics have? And do you take steps to ensure that you can prove them incorrect, that you are effective?
My answer is this. There are doctors and lawyers who are politicians and they're useless.
Good point. So,
there you go.
That's the soundbite right there.
What is the difference of an actor? I mean, we've got also useless actors and actresses who, are very selfish in that sense.
Yeah.
But we also have their quality.
Right.
In every pool of industry, we have good and bad. We have clever and not so clever. That's the reality of life.
Right.
It's not wrong, it's not right. It's just the reality is not everybody's perfect.
Right.
So you just need to understand who has that capability to do it and who doesn't.
Right. You have a very strong social media presence as well, right? And because of all this criticism, it appears whether you like it or not. How do you motivate yourself through it?
Don't read.
Okay.
Don't read. I went through one issue in Babadana Stadium. It was a massive one. And I was very upset, but I never responded. I never responded, even though I knew and I know that was not my fault.
Okay.
But I was told not to answer.
Right.
And I bit my tongue and I took the hit.
Because we've been talking about movies and intersection of culture and also politics, right? Do you think arts and film in particular, right, can it become a form of diplomacy for Malaysia?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'll give you an example of Korea. How did they market Korea? They market it through film and their brand of actors and actresses. They shot them around the world. They fronted the country for Korea. That suddenly this Korean brand built. I think they planned this about 15 years ago. It was nothing new. But they had a vision that no one saw. They managed, they customized their talent, and they said, the tourism board funded it and said, go around the world and promote Korea.
Right.
Through music, through film, through talent. Look what it did to the country.
Right.
And today you have K-pop leads, Korean drama leads. They didn't get there overnight.
It wasn't by accident.
It wasn't by accident. It's all planned.
Right.
Investments were done.
Right.
Multi-millions were put into that to get that brand for the next 10 years of the country.
Right.
So they had vision.
Right. Are we capable of this?
We are capable of it. But a lot of people are afraid to do something 10 years. We want things very quickly. Tak boleh quickly. Cannot. You want a result tomorrow, cannot.
Right.
It's not going to happen 100%.
Are there the beginnings of a plan somewhere for this to happen? Have you heard of anything? Are you involved in any discussions?
I've been in some discussions, but the discussions are slightly different and we're not following the template of Korea. I think our vision right now is looking at Asia. I believe co-pros are one way of stepping out. Malaysian funding in probably also foreign countries. But shooting also in Malaysia and using a certain percentage of Malaysian talent.
Right.
It may not be in Bahasa Malaysia.
Right.
It may be in a language that's to that country, but that country, we can distribute that content or that film in that country easier. So that's the first step. Now people are going to say, we have to protect our language, our national language.
Right.
I agree.
Right.
But let us have that on the left here and continue doing what we do. But let us have 10-15% to test these waters.
Right.
Till we go out.
Do both
and
at the
later
same
on,
time.
when this succeeds, we can bring this and collaborate this and get our language, our national language out.
It's almost like a Trojan horse.
It is.
Yeah.
That's my vision. I don't know how people think.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So there
It's a bold move, but people may shoot me down and say, "Oh, because they'll defend our culture and so on." I'm defending my culture. I'm defending Malaysia.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. Nobody can shoot this country down. I will argue. I will be upset.
Yeah. You're playing the long
I'm
game.
patriotic for Malaysia. I'm telling you, but I have a longer vision, longer game.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about censorship a bit. Because FINAS has often been seen as both a support system and a gatekeeper as well, right? How do you draw the line between regulating the industry and nurturing its creative freedom, and then also the need to censor?
Okay. Number one is censorship is not under FINAS and KKMM.
Okay.
Censorship board is under KDN,
Oh, right.
Kementerian Dalam Negeri.
Right.
So it's not under our authority.
Right. But do you have a say? Are you?
We
do you
do
have
not have a
seat at
say.
the table?
No,
So no seat at the table.
we don't have a seat at the table. From FINAS, no.
Let's hear your personal opinion of this
I
as a
think FINAS
creative.
should be on that panel.
Right.
A few people have mentioned to me this and said, ask Minister whether we can, do this and have someone from FINAS represent in the censorship board as well.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it carefully because this was only discussed a few days ago, strangely. I haven't looked into it yet. So I've been so busy with the Hari Raya open houses. It's crazy. Putting on weight. And I'm like,
Nobody is judging. Nobody is judging for sure.
So, but, and I have all the meetings with associations and so on, and the CEOs briefing me of what's going on and keeping me up to speed with everything since I've been away from 5 years from FINAS.
Right.
So I think that was something we'll look at down the line, but I need the approval from obviously the ministry for something like that to happen.
Right.
It cannot be my decision.
Right. Because you are uniquely both a creative as well as an administrator.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like censorship, right, like we've been discussing, and we've got the age restrictions in place already. We had
Yes.
a guide to follow.
I was sitting next to the censorship head the other day in another station's open house, and he was telling me, "Oh, now we got this, we got this, we got this, we got this." I'm like, "Okay, but does it jeopardize the story when the filmmaker sends it in and you start cutting the film to pieces?" You know what I mean? I think they have a better guideline after probably years. I think so. Let's give them a slightly bit of credit there.
Yeah. That there is change happening.
Yeah. So if they give them more options in terms of 13, 16, 18, to whatever it is, so they will not probably cut too much because it's for that cluster of age group. You know what I mean?
Right. So that means if we followed the guidelines, there would be more room to maintain the sanctity of the film.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I agree to the censorship of, keeping racial harmony in the country, in storytelling as well. I agree, to the sexual side of filmmaking. You don't need to show that. That's very Hollywood-based, very European-based. Well, our culture is not based on that. Our culture is based on maybe, human attachment in that sense. Love is shown in many ways.
Right.
Love is shown in many ways. Why is love only shown in a physical aspect? Love can be shown in many other gestures.
Speaking of culture, what role do you think Malaysian cinema should play in defining or challenging national identity, especially in a multicultural society like ours, right? Should it reflect what we are only, or should it also reflect what we could be?
I think both has to be there. What we are, what we were, and what we could be. I mean, there's three. I didn't say two, three.
Right.
So if you tell that story about what we are by mistakes we have made, what we are, what we were, what we are is what we're trying to fix and make it in line with everyone, and what could be. So you've got the journey of the story, and that's your arc. Oh, that's an arc of a story of a film right there, man. The 3 arcs. Just created an arc of a story film. Oh, I didn't realize it.
Live. It happened here.
It's an arc. So, and telling a story about our culture. Culture is also Malaysia. It's about the Malay guy or the pakcik or the makcik, the auntie or the uncle in the gerai. You know what I mean?
Right. Having said that, if you had the power to change one thing, about Malaysia's entertainment industry today, what would it be and why? You can give more than one reason.
Yeah, I would change right now the manner of how the business is handled. Meaning from the beginning of your script, going into grants, getting funding, filming, post-production, marketing, distribution, it is all digitized. Digitized in the sense that you know that you are protected by this digitization. You know your sales, Nobody's going to, you know where your film is at what point. You know, when I go in for a grant, I'm going into it with, online rather than this paperwork, going through what someone decides. I think that's the first thing. On the business side, I will do that.
Is there too much red tape now? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's coming down with FINAS. Because right now, everything's online.
Right.
We've moved forward already, you know what I mean? I think just that the back end of the business needs to be looked at a little bit, meaning the final and the tail end of it. And that's something we're coming up with soon to make those changes.
Is it mostly bureaucratic? Like, it sounds like a lot of the issues that you've brought up are bureaucratic issues, because along the way, it's become complicated the way films are made. There are too many forms that need to be filled, too many permissions that need to be granted, that it could be better streamlined.
Not really, to be honest, unless you're going for money or grants. But the problem is the industry depends on grants. They're not looking at the ecosystem of using banks, using corporate sectors, and using the grants together.
Right.
If you take $1 million from FINAS, why don't you use that to match with a bank on one-to-one?
Right. And that's not happening.
That's not happening because they want the money for free before they make their film. They want to make their money when they get the grant.
Right.
You're not going to make your money at the tail end of the film, which is when it goes to cinema and distribution, pre-sales, online sales, and so on. So you need to create the whole structure of where I'm going to recover this film, financially recover this film.
That sounds like a major upheaval.
It's a whole, yeah.
You know, you've got a lot of experience. That goes without saying, actually. Let's say young Malaysians who are looking to enter the entertainment industry. What's the one piece of advice you would wish someone had told you when you were starting out? What would you have told yourself?
In the entertainment industry, yeah? I would have wanted to own my own content. Whatever I invested in, whatever I paid for from my own sweat and blood on my finances, and I put into film or a drama series or anything, I wish I fought for owning that content. Because P. Ramlee didn't, and he passed on without anything. You know what I mean? And that's what's happening right now. The reason why I kind of wanted to stop acting is because I saw a veteran struggling. And I said, if I'm going to be 70 years old and still struggling looking for a job, I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's why I invested into businesses.
Right. Are you saying that even today, it is not viable for an actor or actress to just be an actor and actress and make a living for themselves?
Most of the actors or most of the so-called celebrities, they are building off, endorsements on social media, getting paid a certain amount, going to events and getting paid and publicizing products on it and so on, and then they become popular and then they get into probably a film or a drama series and then basically they're an artist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That sounds broken.
Yeah, but that's the reality of what it is. And I don't want to be part of that.
Yeah.
So at my age, I thought, my social media is not going to go any higher. I'm not going to be in this league. I'm not going to play this game. I'm not going to go to events and promote myself and the products. I said, I'm done with that. I did it before.
Right.
I'm done with that, I did endorsements. I did it. We got paid quite a lot of money. I made money off endorsements. I didn't make money off an actor being in a film.
Right. And look at you now. You are the proof that by making the moves with all of the opportunities that come your way and actually utilizing it makes a difference. Because
it does. But in life it's never smooth sailing. Never smooth sailing. There's gonna be times, gonna be tough times. After COVID, I think everybody suffered. I suffered. I had struggled to keep my staff together. I struggled to, every day thinking, okay, where am I gonna get funds? There's no business. After COVID, we really struggled. It wasn't just COVID time, because COVID we had savings. So we got through COVID. I kept all my staff. I never fired a single person, paid them full salaries for 2 years. Never came to the office once.
Wow.
Because they have families, they have kids to feed. I thought, you know what? I can't do this. They've been with me 30 years, 20 years. I'm going to save them. I used every single savings I had and reserves I had to keep that structure alive.
Yeah.
But after that structure went, you struggle 2 years after that.
Yeah.
You got to build again.
Yeah.
I
mean, you're giving me some PTSD now, because we all know, those of us who are in the entertainment industry, how tough that time was for us.
It's terrible.
all jobs were cancelled, events
Terrible.
were cancelled, every single
Everything.
aspect of our livelihood
We were
was
done.
gone. Yeah.
We were done that 2 years, man.
Yeah, the fact that we still survive to this day, to be able to sit here now, actually, to even
Yeah.
have this conversation is almost something that seems surreal.
Yeah.
But we made it through.
I know people are still struggling through, I mean, even today, they have not recovered from COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's just the reality of it, I mean, it's hard to see, but
Some didn't even survive it.
yeah.
Some didn't
I
make
know.
it past it. Yeah,
Some people, production balik kampung, they stayed in the kampung, they didn't want to come back to the city.
yeah,
I felt so bad, but I couldn't help them, I mean, whatever I earned from FINAS as a chairman that time for a year plus, I took all my salary and I gave it back to them.
yeah.
I called everybody, gave them $1,000 each. No. Ambil duit ni. This I didn't. I made a decision that when I served in FINAS the first term, I wasn't going to take any money from FINAS, but we got paid an allowance, and I used that allowance in COVID to give it all back to the industry, crew, makeup artists, people who were struggling.
Yeah.
Just handed out an envelope to them.
And we're looking forward now to see as the 2 years that are ahead of us that the 2 years that are coming up with you helming FINAS again. We look forward to see what.
But I'm not alone. I obviously have Minister backing us, Fahmi, Dato Fahmi.
Yeah.
We have the CEO, Dato Azme. We have the board, the industry players, the associations. And I always tell them that this is a team effort. Not one person can do this alone.
It takes a village.
It's going to take all of us to do this.
Yeah.
But if you don't back us, we're done here. You guys on the ground need to back us.
Right.
It's not the other way. It's not we got to back you guys. You got to back us to change these policies.
Yeah, yeah. We look forward to that.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now we're going on to the rapid fire questions part.
go.
So you got to answer as quickly as you can with whatever comes to mind. What's one film you wish you had directed?
Braveheart.
Oh, Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Right. If you could erase one moment from your career, what would it be? Erase one moment.
Not taking that picture in Stadium Bukit Jalil on the field, because everybody thought I was in charge of that field, and I got blamed for it. I know exactly the moment. Some reporter from far took that picture and made it look like I was just checking the field before the game. I was like, is it okay? Is it going to last? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we didn't want to play that game.
Okay.
We didn't want to. We said Coldplay and the Malaysian game, that schedule came from the previous regime. We inherited that. I couldn't cancel Coldplay because they'll sue us for hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
I couldn't cancel a national game.
Yeah.
And it was too close that we went, this is going to look really bad.
Thank
so
you.
walking down on that field was my biggest mistake. I should have stayed in the corporate suite and didn't care about it. But I cared too much about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well said. What's the boldest decision you've ever made?
To go into politics.
Who's the toughest critic between these three? Your audience, the media, or yourself?
Myself.
Why do you think that?
Oh, I'm terrible. I kind of watch my film sometimes. I'm like, but it's okay. But you guys watch. I go outside.
To this day. Yeah. Oh, interesting. If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Not be so stubborn. Yeah. I started off younger being very stubborn. Sometimes the point of stubborn becoming arrogant. And I really have quite an arrogant face. Like, people look at me like sombong, But it's actually two things. One, I've got bad eyesight, so I can't see people like at a distance, so I don't know it's you. That's number one. People don't realize about that about me. Two, I've got this face that I think I don't smile too much. But when you get to know me, they're like, wow, I'm not the person we thought,
Describe Dato Hans Isaac in 3 words.
Determined, workaholic.
Stubborn.
I'm not stubborn anymore.
Okay, that's the one that you got over that one.
question.
Got it.
And I would say too forgiving sometimes.
Oh, too forgiving.
Too forgiving. People who do nasty things to me and stuff like that, I tak apalah. I just tak apalah. And it sometimes backfires on me as well. Sometimes I should stand my ground and go, no. Face up, no.
Is it because you believe that people can change?
Yeah. I believe people require a second chance. I made mistakes in my life when I was younger. I'm not the most perfect person, you know what I mean? None of us in this room is perfect. None.
And it's easier to see someone else as less perfect than you to make yourself feel better.
Yeah. You got to look at the person. What's the quality of the person? Slowly, if you recognize that person with that quality, that negativity, they will push aside. They'll be like, I'm going to change. Because this is the positive. I'm getting positive energy here. And I'm going to say, you know what? This is nice. This makes me feel good. So whatever bad or whatever negativity or less the person you are, that will slowly change the positivity.
Right.
So that's the kind of Malaysia we want.
Yeah. This is a question. This is the closing question. Final thing we ask
Final question.
all of our guests.
Okay, I hope I can answer with a,
It is uniquely significant to you because you are literally one step away from the person we're going to mention in this question, which is if you had the opportunity to make one change as Prime Minister of Malaysia for a day, what would it be and why?
Number one, that will never happen with me being the Prime Minister because of the way the structure is built in Malaysia, and we recognize it and we respect it. But if I had an opportunity to change something in this country, would be as simple as, oh my God, I would say, I'd like to see Malaysia truly united. How we get there is going to be in different, many, many ways.
And thank you for giving us your time and sharing with us today. We appreciate you joining us.
I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, we have too.
I enjoyed this.
We appreciate...
Very fast and short, I thought. I enjoyed it. That's why it went fast. Usually I'm like, really not beating.
Thank you, Dato Hans Isaac, for joining us. We appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.